All right, well, we've got temperatures warming up out there in those 40s and 50s across the state with that light northwesterly flow moving in across the area. So temperatures well above average. As we look at the air quality across the state, not looking bad. We got a couple of little pockets of moderate trying to begin to show up here on the map. You get over here towards portions of the western Uintas, and then as you get over, or eastern Uintas, I should say, and then as you get over towards Grand County, and even if you notice now, just across northern Salt Lake there, we've got just a little bit trying to show up. So there is some haze out there, as we could verify looking at the inversion cameras. But again, nothing like what we've seen the past couple of days that has really caused more of that pronounced area of haze. But that may return as we progress throughout the rest of this week. All right, let me show you the air quality right as we go throughout the rest of this afternoon. Likely flirting around that moderate air quality level here across most of the I-15 corridor. And then as you head westbound over towards portions of Box Elder and Tooele counties, but for everyone else, pretty much should stay in the good category. So we're not looking at a major issue when it comes to the air quality. Big ridge of high pressure anchored off of the California coast, and that is sending, look at this just huge plume of moisture here in the Pacific Ocean. So the weather is very active off to our west. It's not that we don't have storm systems, they just can't get to Utah. Why? Because there's something blocking it. It's called the blocking high pressure system, and it's sending all that moisture up and around us here. And so therefore, all we get left over when it comes down the spine here is just a couple of clouds, and that's what we're going to see as we go throughout the rest of today. So highs climbing into the upper 40s to low 50s across northern Utah. We'll see those temperatures in the mid to upper 50s across the I-70 corridor, then down towards lower Washington County. That's where we can see those temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. But yes, with this ridge of high pressure in place, temperatures will remain above average as we go throughout this week. In fact, likely 10 to 15 degrees above average as we go throughout, especially the middle and latter half of the work week here, as this ridge of high pressure just builds and centers itself over the western half of the country here. And again, everything is going way up and around us for now. But by the time we get towards the weekend, we'll start to see some changes. We'll track a storm system getting closer by Monday. Could give us an isolated chance of a couple of showers across the state as we get into your Monday, but that's not the big deal. You see kind of the big deal starting to take shape across the areas to our north and west as we get towards your Monday. That will start to roll in here after Monday. And right now, the data continues to point strongly to a pattern change of a colder and more unsettled pattern with a more active pattern as we get into most of next week, once we get past about Monday. So the overall trend will be wetter than average conditions. Now, again, it's too early to get into the specifics on what type of precipitation, how much, but looking ahead, taking any numbers or anything like that off, notice as we get into next week, it does start to paint some pretty colors on the map. So that tells you there's a chance of something. We'll fine-tune that, obviously, as we get a little closer. But St. George, sunshine in the meantime. Temperatures in the upper 60s here through Thursday. Mid-60s heading into the weekend with a few clouds. But again, all eyes will be on what happens next week. The Wasatch Front, low 50s with a mixture of sun and clouds. Then just more hazy sunshine for the second half of the week as that ridge of high pressure really builds overhead. Temperatures getting up there into the mid to maybe even upper 50s by the end of the work week. And then we'll start to cool it down heading into next week. Again, a few isolated showers with that first system on Monday. Better chances for a more significant system potentially as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Stay tuned. That's your forecast. We'll send it back to you guys.